What's up, everyone, and welcome to Mint City Soccer Show. I'm one of your hosts, David Gussler. I'm here with my co-host extraordinaire. Looks like he's drinking some sleepy time tea. Matt Swift, welcome back to the show. Matt, how are you, man?
Good. Hopefully I won't nod off during the show, but it's good to be back with you guys.
So for those who are watching on YouTube, it's like he's got like the mood lighting, he's got the blue light, he's got sleepy time tea. He's probably feeling like Zoran right now at the end of the transfer window, ready to go to sleep. So
that's fair. Yeah.
Well, welcome back, Swift. I'm glad you're feeling better. I'm glad to have you back. We got our occasional co-host, producer extraordinaire, Corey Ensko in the background. Corey, how are you, sir?
Good. Do you remember when we used to like do this show? We'd be like, "What beer are you drinking tonight?" And like that was a big like kind of running gag we had.
It was, yeah. It was.
And now we're like sitting here like I occasionally have beer, but I'm drinking water. Matt's got his cup of tea. David, I don't know what's happening over there.
I'm drinking non-alcoholic beer.
Yeah.
We were just talking before we hit record about how we've been doing this, and we feel like 4 years ago we were younger and now we're older, and I think it's showing in the beverages of choice that we are having. We can't be in a loud bar anymore. We're too old for that.
You're too old for Magic the Gathering happening next to us. It's fine.
We need tea so we get some good sleep for tomorrow.
Exactly. Well, we're burning the candle here because there's been lots of news and lots of happenings with Charlotte. It feels like in the past 48 hours, all of a sudden. And I know everyone's listening and is dying to hear what we're going to talk about. That we will get to that. Let's talk through Charlotte's most recent run of form, though, really quick, because vibes are feeling good. Vibes are high right now. Charlotte is 6 games unbeaten, which is MLS best right now. It's almost like the Bizarro May. I need to make that into a meme. Is make August the Bizarro, May for us, or June, whatever that streak was. But we're bouncing back. We're feeling high. So Swift. Charlotte walked away with 3 points at home against RSL or Real Salt Lake, however you want to pronounce it. But got 3 points at home with the goal, 1-0. So how are you feeling after that game?
Pretty good. I mean, the game itself was not anything blockbuster spectacular. It was very much vintage 2024, which I'm okay with. Kind of almost like a kind of a boring game, but I'll take it. I'll take a clean sheet, something that we've really needed, and I thought our defense has been improving, and I think we're kind of back to our form, and we're getting all of our pieces back. I think Nathan Byrne is just a huge piece of this team, and now that he's back, I think we're starting to see our defense kind of settle back in.
Yeah, it's weird. It's three games with a clean sheet, I think, in a row, which is, we had not had that in quite a while. If Dean was still doing the free wine for every clean sheet, he would start to be racking up the credit card bills at Total Wine a little bit. But maybe that's what the issue was this year, Swift. Maybe that's he just wasn't offering the free wine. The boys just said, nope, not going to do that anymore. So
that's right.
So we're decent game there. Charlotte FC still without Pep Biel in this game. Had a few players returning from this, but had a few kind of standout moments there in that game. And while Charlotte won 1-0, if you look on paper, it's 50% possession for each of them. Both teams had around 1.0 expected goals. Charlotte was a little bit higher. RSL was a bit lower. RSL obviously had a lot more shots total in the game, but Charlotte seemed like they played pretty well. If you're looking at that first half there, and when Charlotte was able to get a goal there in the first half, we were kind of knocking on the door there multiple times, right?
Yeah, it took us a little bit to get into this game, though. I'd say like the first 10, 15 minutes, we were on the back foot and RSL was on the front foot coming forward, and they had chances. But I think, bend don't break. Again, that was kind of the theme for last year. And I think that's kind of where we've been the past couple of games. But we did start the game off with kind of a bang. We had Zaha get a yellow card in the first 3 minutes of the game by slamming someone into the ground. And here's the thing. I don't know if I was watching at home, And what's kind of infuriating is, one, he did what he did, but also he was not going to get a yellow card. Why he got a yellow card is he was not listening to the referee. The referee was trying to talk to him, and he was like ignoring her, and she was like, "All right, fine," and that's when she gave him the yellow card. And so that makes me even more frustrated. But yeah, so that's how the game started, and I was like, "Ooh!" But I will say, give Zaha a lot of credit for playing the rest of the game on a yellow card and not getting in trouble after that.
Yeah, it was a weird way to start the game. I remember even asking you, like, not asking you, but just putting it, in the chat during the game, like, why would he do that? So like, it just seemed like such a weird kind of start of the game, because like it seemed very, I don't want to say it seemed unnecessary, because who knows? Who knows if he said something? If the announcers were actually talking about how RSL kind of warmed up in the stadium, like not on a conventional like way. They had a huge boombox speaker, and they had this, and they even mentioned like Zaha was kind of like, that's kind of strange we're doing that here, right? So I don't know if there were some exchanges pregame or
maybe
warm ups that we just don't know about, and then Zaha's like, "F this, man," and he did his old WCW wrestle impersonation there in Charlotte, North Carolina, and just took the guy and swung him around. So kind of a weird way to start. I will say I felt like Zaha had to, which credit to him, I mean, he had to be a little bit more reserved, I think, at times with some challenges and 50-50 balls, because you go in to have a yellow card in the first 3 minutes of the game, you have to kind of watch that, because Dean didn't want to burn a sub. You don't want to bring off a player that is a DP, and then selfishly, I'm sure Zaha wanted to keep that streak going of potentially getting 10 games in a row with a goal contribution in some capacity.
Yeah, he almost had it too at the end,
close.
But so close.
Well, we'll talk about that here in a little bit. But there was, obviously we'll get to the Tokomate goal, but right before that, we almost had another situation where we had a kind of a cross in, and it Tokomate header kind of hit the post, which I thought was going in, and then Corwin Vargas, right place, right time, ball fell right to him. Corey shaking his head and laughing in the background, and somehow he sailed it wide right there in front of where Koryensko probably sits a little bit. But yeah, it was a great opportunity for us to kind of get some momentum there, but obviously did not go in.
45% of us thought it went in. It was one of those because of the angle. Like it was like for sure he made that, and like even I swore it was in, and it was only when I like turned back to the field and saw the reaction, I was like, oh, it was side net. Okay, here we go.
Yeah.
But yeah, huge chance. I hated that he didn't put that in, but yeah, there was a decent chunk of people who were celebrating for 30 seconds after that.
Yeah, I feel for him because he's been playing so well, and I thought he played really great this game too. So I would have liked to have gotten that one in for him, but wasn't to be.
What are you thinking about? I guess I don't want to say emergence of Tokomate, because we've mentioned him previously, and leading up to this space. He got another goal in this game. I think if you look at what his goal contributions are for the season, he's got 7 goals, 2 assists already. He's only started 12 matches this year, right? So if you're looking at that 9 goal contribution and 12 starts, 1,100-ish minutes, give or take a little bit. Do we have a future starter and a consistent starter here, or what do you think the plans are for Tokomate now with his I guess play being elevated here in Charlotte?
I mean, I think it's his spot until someone takes it from him. He's definitely earned it. I think what he benefits from is his movement off the ball, and he gets in really good spaces off the ball, right? And he's dynamic. He's really athletic too, and he's fast. He can jump high. A really, really great goal, right in the middle, thick of the defense there on that end ball from Westwood. But he's been on fire, so it's his position. Someone else will have to take it from him. I know we just signed someone, and that'd be good, pressure and everything like that. But yeah, he's been great. He's been I think I tweeted this during the game, like what a crazy, amazing, underrated signing for this team. Who would have thought, right? when we first signed this guy, half the people didn't know what his name was or what the correct name was. And then we're like, okay, he'll probably be on Crown Legacy, and okay, we got Pat, we got other people, but he's come in and really taken the game by the reins and staked his claim to be a starter.
Yeah, I know we've got Leagues Cup matches in between this, but if you just look back at the last 4 games in MLS play, RSL, he got a goal. FC Cincinnati, he got an assist. If you look at Toronto, he got a goal. Atlanta United, he got a goal. DC United didn't get a goal, but NYCFC got a goal. Orlando, no goal. Chicago Fire, a goal. So if you look at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 games, and basically 5 of those 7 games or 6 of those 8 games, he's got a goal contribution to his name, which it's not Zaha getting 9 in a row, but it's still very significant and very impactful.
And I think most players, if they got sent off the way Tokolamati did, they would kind of lose some of that flame that they had, right? I think you would see a lot of players just kind of like, oh, and then kind of hit a dip, but he came right back. And that tells me a lot about him as a player. I know Zorn was really high on him. So it's just good to see.
Yeah, I'm looked up where he was at previously, and one I'm not even going to try to pronounce where he played at previously. But even just looking at some of his stats there previously, I mean, he played 74 games there and had 17 goals. He's already got half the amount of goals he had there in only 27 games with Charlotte. So really great find. Obviously, you got to give credit to him as a player for stepping up and developing and putting in the work to be able to do that. But it seems like Charlotte's got a pretty good striker there to kind of help out with this space for it too. So this game, you saw Nathan Byrne continue to start, come back and kind of do this. I know last game or last show you weren't able to be on because you were feeling under the weather. We talked about Nathan Byrne starting, but how great is it for you to feel with Nathan Byrne back, even though he's playing left back, still back on the field?
Yeah, just having him on the field's great. Like I said, we have struggled so much defensively, and just having his presence back there. And also too, him, we've said this before, him being able to get the ball at his feet and dribble out of the back and get us kind of out of pressure, because we do struggle with the press some. So having him back there to be able to dribble out of some of that pressure is just so beneficial offensively. And then defensively, he's amazing. There's still a little bit of rust there for sure, but that's to be expected.
Yeah. And you also had another defensive player make his premiere in this game. I know when we first signed him, you were like, yeah, you're probably not going to be Cincinnati. We'll be kind of iffy. Is that RSL, that kind of stuff. But here we are, a player that we just signed, 2 weeks ago, give or take officially. Harry Toffolo came. Is that how you say it? I'm just making sure. Toffolo came in and signed and came in and subbed in and played left back for us. I mean, granted, he subbed in at the 79th, 80th minute, something like that, right? So not a huge amount of minutes. Wasn't like, I mean, there was a time there where it looked like he had some little spurt there, but was offside with him and Zaha making an overlapping run. But how excited are you to have him getting back into match fitness and shape, and then potentially seeing Nathan Byrne and Harry be our left and right backs?
Well, considering it's been I feel like 16 episodes now where I have yelled about the fullbacks, and every tweet has been about the fullbacks, and every post in Discord has been about the fullbacks. I feel very good about having different fullbacks now. So I feel great. I think he's going to be a great addition to the team. Again, offensively too, he's going to be somebody else that can get us out of danger. He can dribble up, he can make overlapping runs, but also he has that knowledge and wherewithal to when to get back and play defense. I was able to speak to him personally. That was literally one of the things he told me. He goes, I really like to get forward, but more importantly, you got to know when to get back and play defense. So him saying that to me, I almost kissed him on the lips. So luckily I didn't. So I'm ecstatic for him to be in the squad.
It's awesome. He was wearing his MLS debut patch on his kit as well. So you might see a MLS Tops Now or debut card sometime in the future with him, hopefully.
Yeah, he's a great guy. Got to have a conversation with him. Like I said, big family guy, so I think he's really going to love Charlotte. But yeah, I think he's going to fit in really, really well here. He's a super extreme professional. So again, that's going to help in the locker room. That's going to help elevate the other players and everything too, and especially defensively. Like, I'm super excited about it.
So I want to necessarily, I guess, another player who had I thought played very, very well, and I actually had to pull it up, and he was tied for first in terms of foot mob ratings, which you guys know it's very, whoever's there and there. Ashley Westwood, I thought, had a really good game, and I know we kind of give him a hard time with some of his corners, and because they're sometimes hit or miss, different times here and there, but his I don't know. His crosses and his balls into the box in this game were on a different level. And then obviously free kick, which helped lead to a goal with Tokolomati. I thought he played pretty well. I want to say that's the Donnie blessing. We had Donnie on the show, and Donnie talked about how amazing Ashley is at golf on the Secret Show. And all of a sudden, Ashley comes out and has one of his best games, right? So I just wanted to highlight him. But one player that I know you probably want to talk about a little bit was subbed on at the 81st minute. Our other DP is Lee Labata. So I thought he played pretty well, but Swift, what do you think about his impact that he made there in at least the final 10 minutes of the game? Because I have some feelings about him coming on for only 10 minutes, but still, I think he did well for the time he was, because he can't control that. Right. He did well for the minutes he had. So what do you think about Lee Labata in his time last game?
I thought he was amazing. I thought he was really strong. He did exactly what he was supposed to do. I agree. I was shaking my head. Like, the subs came way too late, in my opinion. Yeah. I think they were like in the 79th minute, and 81st minute is when Abada comes on. Too late.
I want to talk about this sub about Abada here in a minute. But go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, no, I thought he was fantastic. And I this is why you have competition at these positions. I think what you're seeing now is you saw Vargas was like, I don't want to sit on the bench. So his game elevates, right? And he's been fantastic. Now you got a bot on the bench. He's like, whoa, I've got to make my claim. You've also seen Brandon Cambridge come in like he's been shot out of a cannon trying to, like, I want some minutes. So it's good to have this competition. But there was a video going around, and I wanted to mention this, about Zoran talking to Abada after the game and patting him on the back and talking to him. I can tell you almost with 100% certainty probably what that conversation was like, because I've seen Zoran do this with other players, specifically Tokolomati, before Tokolomati was really getting minutes and starting. I guarantee you what Zoran was saying was like, how you played tonight is exactly what we need. Please keep your head up. Keep pushing, keep going. I guarantee that's what that conversation was. I saw some comments of like, oh, he's probably, no, there was nothing, no animosity there. I can almost guarantee that it was positive. Like, what you did tonight is exactly what you need to do. And I thought Abada played great.
What was weird in that situation, and I saw Corey mouth like, he wants to, he has some questions, or feelings or thoughts. So
mostly questions, but yes.
So Abada got subbed in, and somewhat subbed in.
Oh yeah.
So Vargas was the one he was being subbed on for, and I guess Vargas didn't cross the field and just stepped out on his side or took his time.
No,
I don't know.
I don't know what happened.
Like, on the announcers,
the answer, Matt? Okay.
Yeah. So the announcer said he was prolonging his sub.
He took too long. Vargas took too long to get off the field.
Okay.
So if you look at MLS rulebook is that if a player is deemed to not listen, take too long, whatever it is, the coming on player can be held back from being subbed on for at least 60 seconds of game time.
And it was way longer than 60 seconds.
It was way longer than 60 seconds.
I was like, there were like 4 stoppages of play.
Correct.
And I'm like,
yes.
Why is he not being waved on? And I think why Dean was losing his mind too.
And I feel like a lot of people didn't notice that. Me and shout out Nate, we were losing our minds, screaming out of our section.
Yeah. Well, what was Nate saying? He's a referee. Like,
we didn't understand the why, because I guess from our perspective, like, I guess technically Vargas was the first one announced and was one of the last ones to come off, but like all the players kind of ended up on the sideline about the same time. Like, if you really think about it, like in my memory, I haven't gone back and watched the tape. So like, y'all correct me if I'm wrong or you saw something different, but like, yes, Vargas was taking this very sweet time, but we made 3 subs at once. And I don't think Vargas was significantly after anyone else had come off. And so we didn't realize the why, like in the moment. I mean, obviously they didn't announce, they're not going to announce that over the intercom or anything like that. So we didn't know why that had been called. So I haven't talked to him since, if knowing that's the reason. That does make sense. But one, if that's the rule, it was way longer than 60 seconds. He was there for a long time standing on the sideline.
It's funny on the timeline. There's for the game, they're saying that the first subs, there were 2 at the 79th minute, and they're saying that Abada came in at the 81st minute. As far as what's documented,
right?
I call shenanigans on that, but that's neither here.
It was wild.
Right? Yeah.
So he was there was even
one. Yeah, there was even one at the goal kick where it was a second stoppage of play, and you're like, oh, you would think that they would whistle and be like, all right, come on the field, and they didn't allow them come on the field. And
there were like 2 or 3 throw-ins. There were multiple chances.
Because if that's what you want to call, and make it to where like next stoppage he gets to come in, he doesn't get to come in immediately. Like, sure, I mean Vargas was taking his sweet time. I get that. That's fine.
Yeah.
But yeah, the amount of time over there was crazy, especially with how many stoppages happened to happen in that like 2-minute chunk of time. So
yeah,
that was wild. But yeah, we didn't know why in the moment, like what the actual ruling was. It's just me and Nate, because I think a lot of people, again, like, if you're not really paying super close attention in the stadium, like they're not saying anything about it. You just look down, you're like, wait, why is Abada still standing over there? And so we're just standing up, screaming like mad people.
I love it.
So there's 2 other moments I just wanted to bring up, and then we'll move on to all the exciting summer transfer talk and rumors and moves and everything like that. One was, I feel like fortunate, very unfortunate, whatever you want to look at it for RSL or us, was the Tim Ream handball, not handball call. I'll be very honest with you. I kind of thought it was a handball based off of the way that other handballs have been called against us. I was like, ooh, his arm's kind of far away from his body a little bit. But they were like, oh, it deemed as a natural position somehow. But then I go back multiple times and look at Brant and be like, oh, Brant had a very first game in DC, turned his back, and somehow the ball is, his arm's not in a natural position. And also, who knows? It's kind of like I made the analogy in Discord. It was like, who knows what a catch is anymore in the NFL? It's like, who knows what a handball is?
What is a handball
in soccer? What is a handball? Like, what's it? Yeah.
If this happened to us, I would have lost my mind. I would have angry tweeted 10 tweets at the referees, the MLS. I think we were very fortunate. It was funny, though. The announcers for this game were like, nope, not a handball. And then when they went to go to VAR, and they were like, it wasn't a handball. The announcer goes, it shouldn't have even went to VAR. And I'm like, probably should have went to VAR. So I'm pretty sure VAR called her over, because I'm pretty sure they thought it was a handball. Yeah. And from what I could see, and she was looking, and she even was motioning with her arm, like, no, it's down. I think VAR was like, yeah, this is a handball. You need to look at this. But she stuck with what she called on the field.
Another sign of how clueless we are in the stadium when they don't tell us what's going on. This, if you remember, the review happened immediately after Zaha's suplex. So
right.
Our thought was they were reviewing it for excessive violent conduct or something like that. And we're going to give Zaha a red card. That's what we thought the review was for. Because I'd kind of forgotten about the handball. Like, I know there was a shout for handball, but I'd kind of already forgotten about that because Zaha's, drop kicking guy on the field or whatever he's doing. So we thought that was the review. Like, oh man, we're going to lose Zaha in the 3rd minute. This is going to be a real interesting match. And then she comes out and she's like, his arm was in a natural position, no penalty. I'm like, how was Zaha suplexing a guy in natural position? And it took like 30 seconds in my brain to be like, wait a minute. She's talking about another call.
Well, so what's weird too, though, is that, and again, this is just small world the way things happen, but this past weekend, obviously, English Premier League started back up. And I don't know if you watched any of the games. I'm sure good friend of the show, Johnny Wakefield, probably watched Leeds United play Everton, and there was a penalty called a handball in the box by Everton, which benefited Leeds. But it was almost the exact same thing as Tim Ream, where he is kind of like falling because the ball got deflected and his arm was out, because a natural position if you're kind of falling is for you to catch yourself.
Sure.
And what happens? They call it. They went to VAR and go, nope, hand's not in a natural position. Handball. Let's go to PK.
That's like the Mexican national team when they were playing us. The guy literally palms the ball.
Yeah.
And they're like, no, natural, but he was falling. Where else can he put his hand? But on the, I don't know, anywhere else on the planet other than the ball that he, I don't know. So, like,
but that's what I'm saying. Like, think about it. Those are just three moments we've had in the past 90 days that are very similar to this, and all three have been called different ways. So, who knows? It benefited Charlotte. So, I wanted to get your perspective on that one.
We got a little lucky, and I thought Pablo Mastroeni, the coach, I thought he was gonna have an aneurysm because they got screwed last game,
last week too with Diego. Yeah.
Ooh, yeah. So, rough.
Yeah.
Oh well.
What was funny? The announcer said it's going to be okay to the coach of RSL when he was losing his mind. Like they said it's going to be okay, because they were very adamant. Like, no, that's not a handball. Like, but I'm like,
announcers he was very sure of himself. I'm like,
yes.
Okay, glad you are.
He must have been sitting next to the VAR folks in Orlando calling the game, and like, I got your back, guys. So that was the first thing I wanted to mention at the very end of the game, and this came up on social media a little bit, and I know it came up on our Discord a little bit too. The very end of the game, Wilfred Zaha apparently had gotten into a little kerfuffle with a fan. When I say kerfuffle, it wasn't really a physical thing. It was just some choice words here and there. So I don't want to speculate. I don't want to do anything like that. But Swift, whenever you see a player like that kind of going back and forth with the fan in the stands, what do you think happened? And I guess, are you okay with it? Not okay with it? What's your thoughts?
It depends on what was said. I hate this notion, like, people pay good money to watch the games, blah, blah, blah. I don't care how much money you pay. You don't, that doesn't give you the right to like say whatever. I'm like, oh, these are professional athletes. They're human beings. How about I don't care how much you get paid to do whatever you want. How would you like if someone started raising hell at you and like calling you names or whatever? You would
imagine going to work and someone yelling at you at work and calling you names and be like, wow, you really suck at your job, dude.
And like, not your boss, like some random dude on the side of the road.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? Like that's also the difference. It's like, it's one thing for like someone who's in the organization to tell a player like, that's not good enough, you need to be better. Yeah, that's his boss. Like, sure, but like random dude who's 3 beers deep, no one cares but you. Like, don't yell at Zaha what you think about his play.
Yeah, and now again, it depends on what he said. Now, if someone was like, "Hey, Zaha, you suck," and he starts doing that, I'm like, "All right, dude, that's a little soft." But so I don't know what was said. Sure. I don't know who said it. I don't imagine there was a lot of traveling RSL fans. But you never know. It could have been some idiot who never comes to games and just says something. So, but Zaha, again, like, it's funny. I have followed Zaha for so long. It's just funny sometimes for me reading and seeing comments like, I can't believe he's done. I'm like, you clearly don't. You've clearly not followed him. This is normal. This is what he does. And he's not going to stop.
No.
So you're going to have to hate him or deal with it or whatever the case is. He's going to be who he is. And he said it in an interview. It's just, there's going to be no surprises.
It doesn't matter if it's a fan, a player, an opposing coach. Like, he's going to mix it up, and that's who he is. And as long as it's not negatively impacting the relationship with his teammates and his play on the field, which sometimes it gets to the edge of impacting his play on the field. Like, I think, having to play 88 minutes with a yellow card, that starts to impact how you play. But in general, like, if that's just how he is, but it doesn't affect things long term, like, fine, that's who he is. I'm not gonna be surprised by stuff like that. But I mean, we should not be surprised when he talks back to someone talking to him. That's what he does.
Yeah, he's going to talk to coaches, players, fans, referees, ball boys. He's going to slam people to the ground. And I want to mention this. I tweeted this before the show and I sent it to you guys. Another thing to keep in mind. Did you see the stat about Zaha? He has been fouled 82 times. Second to Carlos Hill. Carlos Hill has been fouled 85 times, so 3 less. But Carlos Hill has played like 226 more minutes. third place has only been fouled 59 times. So Zaha's been fouled 22 more times than the third person in the league. That's crazy. And I don't know if you saw on the broadcast, David, there was a moment where the referee literally was like, 1, 2, 3, 4. She was like he is not to be fouled again. Like, it was hilarious. Like, she really did this hand motion thing. He's like, he is untouchable now. Like, you cannot touch him. And I thought it was the funniest thing. It's like, he is not allowed to be fouled again. I'm like, well, you probably should have done that way before, because I think there's definitely some targeting. But again, he's the type of person that's going to draw that attention and animosity from opposing players.
I do like how we've seen refs do that more publicly announcement now. Like, it's not every match I see it, but like a lot more matches I see that where they count and do like the no more. Like, touch him again, you get a yellow. But I think she also
is special.
She also did like 7 fouls deep instead of 5, but she may have lost count. But still, the point stands that I enjoy that they're like very publicly like, don't touch him. This is our special boy.
He's pat him on the head. He's our special boy now.
Well, you are talking about the most fouled player in English Premier League history, sir.
That's right.
So it's not surprising. So unfortunately, most fouled player in EPL coming into MLS. He's the second most fouled in his first season ever in the league. So if I was a betting man, I would bet that he's going to continue to get fouled more, and he probably is the highest in terms of fouls per minute played. So like you said, with Heel, he's higher but more minutes played. So anything else on RSL before we transition to some other talk?
I think that's it. Kalina played another great match. Another person to call out. Melanda, great. Tim Ream, other than not handballing, was really great.
Man of the match, Tim Ream. Yeah, exactly. So awesome. So I know you guys were on the show last week, and technically me and Donnie kind of talked about the quote unquote rumor, but let's dive into some Charlotte FC summer transfer window talk and player moves, etc. So the first one, and I'm gonna go ahead and review this one because this happened officially or announced officially after we did the show last week. So this first one, so Charlotte FC acquires Australian striker Archie Goodwin. So Swift, I have to do this just to get it off my cyst, but oh no! So there we go. So how are you feeling about having an Aussie here on the roster, on the team? What do you think about bringing on a player of this caliber? Because he was a Golden Boot winner, former team, obviously different division, different league, etc. But what do you think about Archie and joining Charlotte FC?
We needed a really good mustache on the team.
Yeah, dude. That's true.
And no, I love this signing. Again, it's young, energetic, can get in good spots, can score goals, kind of like that young ignorance in a way too. They don't really know any better. Like, yeah, I'm young and good. I don't know. Like I love that stuff. I kind of think like Tokomati's like, maybe you just don't really know better yet, that you're not supposed to probably be as good as you are. I know that may sound silly to say, but I'm excited for him to be here. And again, he's going to push Tokomati. Tokomati's going to push him. And then also too, I mean, in games where Tokomati just runs himself into the ground, now we got a great sub, a fast, energetic sub. Archie's really good about getting in good spots. So I'm thrilled about the signing. I just like the youth of it, and the mustache.
The mustache is pretty exquisite. So if you look at the comments from Zoran, he even mentions like, hey, he gets in the box. He's creative with his runs. Some of the highlight videos show him making just very long runs and being like, I don't want to say bullish, but just I'm running here. I'm going to do this, and it works out. He likes to be aerial in the ball, likes to get some headers. Seems like, I don't want to say like a younger Tokomati, but like because they're almost the same age, but it's almost like a 1A, 1B of Tokomati and Archie in terms of style of play. Like they could be very similar. Tokomati may be a little bit more polished on the ball, but Archie seems like he's pretty good. So pretty excited to see that.
Future could be bright up top for us. So
absolutely. So that was the first official move. I know another move that we were talking about potentially happening last week that was rumored and that got officially announced today was Charlotte FC officially traded for Drake Callender from Inter Miami. And I'm just going to read this off from the announcement, and I want to get your thoughts on this one because I know me and Donnie talked about this a little bit last week, but I know we want to get your perspective, Swift, and even for you, Corey, if you want to chime in too. But so former goalkeeper of the year finalist joined CLTFC in exchange of $750,000 in GAM. So Miami will get $750,000 in general allocation money, $400,000 in 2025. So this year, $350,000 in 2026.
Right.
Miami could receive $75,000 in addition in conditional GAM, depending on, I guess, escalators or different parts of what it is, and will retain the sell-on percentage. So Zoran says Drake joins our squad with 3+ years of MLS experience, entering a great stage for a goalkeeper development. His MLS experience and recent national team call-ups make him a key piece to help strengthen our goalkeeping core as we continue to build the strongest squad possible for the run-in, but also an eye towards the future. So I think that last little line there was kind of Zoran hinting a little bit. So Matt, what do you think that spells for Kalina? What do you think the team's thought process is trading for a goalie? Because I think anyone would have had this on our radar 2 weeks ago, right? So what's your thoughts?
Before you jump in, I'm going to do a listener question because it's the shorter version of what David just said. Chris Fickling asks, Drake Callender, why?
There you go. Sorry, Chris.
No. I think this raised a lot of eyebrows. Clean is such a fan favorite, but I'm going to be kind of blunt and kind of give you some different scenarios. For me, other than the past, maybe 2 or 3 games, Kalina has not been good this season. So here's the situation. Kalina is now playing well. We know what Kalina can do. You always need a quality backup. We have Bings, but Bings I think his contract is done at the end of the season, right? Okay.
Correct.
We just released Marks. Okay. So now we definitely need a goalkeeper. So now you have Kalina and Callender, and I would imagine we'll probably bring up somebody from Crown Legacy as the third goalkeeper. That would just make sense. But here's why I think this is really good business. You have a goalkeeper. Miami does some weird stuff with their rosters. We've all talked about this. I wonder if Miami kind of got themselves in a position where they had to get rid of Callender. And if you're going to get a goalkeeper like him, you get him right now because I don't know how many teams would scoop him up at the end of the season. So I think it's a great move. And let me tell you, Callender is going to push for that number 1 position. Now you're in a situation that if you are going to move Kalina on, you have a really good goalkeeper. And Callender is a really good goalkeeper. So now, even if you get rid of Kalina, you are not taking a step back. Also, too, you still have Callender. You could move him on at the end of the season or in the future or whatever you wanted to do. So it gives you some wiggle room. It gives you 2 very, very strong goalkeepers. And we've already seen Clean has been benched already once this year. I'm hoping Clean has kind of passed all of that and he's good to go and they just have to duke it out. But I feel really good about it. I think it's very, very smart. I know some people are like, oh, this is really silly. I don't understand this. Like it's good for now. It's good for the future. I really like the move.
The only kind of caveat, and I know I put this in Slack, but the only thing that kind of like maybe pauses just his contract term length is I think his contract ends this year with an option into next year. So I guess like could you next year we still have Kalina on contract, right? So are you going to have 2 keepers that are making $1.5 million in terms of salary roster spend? But that's my only kind of caveat.
I don't mind that because you have 2 goalkeepers now that have been former goalkeepers of the year, and you look at other teams, they pay goalkeepers $1 million, $2 million just for one person. And if you're going to have a good team, every single team that wins championships, they have a stellar goalkeeper. Yeah. So now we've got 2 really, really good ones.
I just I believe you. I'm not disagreeing with you on it. My fear, maybe this is just because I live in purgatory sports hell and I'm a Carolina Panthers fan, but it reminds me of like the Panthers having Sam Darnold and Baker Mayfield, and it's like, well, both are quote unquote good quality quarterbacks and have a draft history and blah, 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 and had really good history. Not great. I'm not saying that they're these players, but then it's like, if you have two really good backups or two decent quarterbacks, do you really have one quarterback? You know, because it's kind of like if you have two goalies who could start, like, I don't know. It's just kind of, it gives, I don't know. It gives me pause because it makes me think, could Dean question himself and start pulling the trigger and putting guys in, pulling them out, and then you run the risk of mental game for players, get hot and cold, streakiness. That's my only caveat. But I agree with you. I think Drake's going to be a good future play because Kalina's contract, I think, ends next year.
So that's the other thing. Again, I think this is really, really good business. And goalkeepers are different than outfield players, you know. I mean, but look at Vargas and Abada. Aren't you glad we have competition there and a very good backup if something happens? And now you're going to have that up top at the striker position. What if Kalina gets hurt?
But I think, just to play devil's advocate, we have the same conversation with Abada where we're like, Abada's a DP and he's getting paid $6 million and blah, 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 you know, all this stuff. And then it's like, oh, he doesn't start. So then we can be like, oh, Drake's getting paid $400,000 and took the starting spot from Kalina. And now we're paying Kalina $1 million. Like why are we, you know, but
what is Bings getting paid right now?
Oh, $100,000, like dirt cheap. Yeah.
So, and you know, I like Bings. I think he's a very quality goalkeeper, but he's getting up in age. And again, I think Calendar's a really good goalkeeper. And like I said, we don't know what the future is going to be for Kalina. We don't know if he wants to move back home. He's got, you know, 2 kids now. So like I said, if Drake was available and Drake could have been available because of Miami having to hurry up and offload people, maybe they're going to get some other folks in and got to make some room somewhere. I mean, it tells you everything you need to know. The Miami fans were losing their shit over losing Drake.
Yeah, and again, not to keep like making this negative and just talking through this, but like the only other kind of caveat that's made me pause, and this is more of a reflection on Miami, and I guess just thinking through terms of trying to renegotiate a deal with Calendar long term, was that rumor from Tom Bogert was that Calendar wasn't even spoken to about any of the move, going to Charlotte, being traded at all. Mm-hmm. So one, that makes Miami look really bad reputation, bad player move, etc. But then again, Drake could be like, well, I don't really want to go there. I'll be there until my contract's up, but then I'm going to go somewhere else potentially. Again, I'm assuming there, but that's the only thing that's in the back of my head. There's a lot of what ifs. I'm also thinking negatively in that space. It could work out, and I would hope it does, because he's 28 years old, former, you know, potential goalkeeper of the year, started 3 years for Miami, played very well. So like it's not a bad move in terms of quality keeper. It just makes that room elevated, makes it tougher for everybody involved, I think, which is good, I guess.
Well, now you have a really good asset that you could, so say he doesn't want to be here and you have that conversation with him in the offseason. You have a really expensive goalkeeper that most teams in the MLS would want.
Yeah.
So you could tell him. So it's kind of, for me, it's a win-win-win all the way around. And now you've elevated your goalkeeping core. You got a really good asset, and now you have wiggle room depending on what Kalina does and everything like that. So I know it raised eyebrows, and I know people are like, what? Why would we get a goalkeeper of all positions? I think it's great.
Got it. And you kind of alluded to this here in just a minute, but obviously the following news immediately after, I don't want to say immediately after, but same announcement later today, after the Drake Calendar move was official, but George Marks was officially waived from Charlotte FC. So I'm just going to read a little bit of this statement here. Marks was a 3rd round MLS Super Draft pick ahead of the club's inaugural season. Zoran said that George has been an integral member of our club since he arrived in 2022, both on the field and in the community. We wish him nothing but the best in his future endeavors. So obviously local guy, played at Clemson. I know there's some Clemson ties to the organization as well. He earned his first contract with the club after, you know, an impressive preseason, made his debut for Charlotte in their U.S. Open Cup against Greenville Triumph on April 20th. And then he made his MLS debut against CF Montreal on June 25th. He tallied 10 matches for the senior team and 9 matches for Crown Legacy for Charlotte FC. I know we actually interviewed interviewed George Marks, year 2 in the off season. And I think I always, and he's very, very kind with his time, very put up with our silly questions. I think we always even brought up the question about him not being the tallest guy in the goalkeeper room, and he actually entertained that question and even answered it for us, which is ridiculous for us or for me to ask that.
And you wonder why we haven't had many players on since then, David.
Hey, we have not had a good streak. We had Sergio Ruiz, we had Mackenzie Gaines, and George Marks. Okay, like we have not.
Only Zohan will talk to us anymore.
Exactly. That's it. Yeah,
he will only put up with our shenanigans. But no, I mean, I really do wish George the best moving forward. Hopefully, he lands on a team here quickly. I know he wants to play. I think he shows potential here and there. I don't think, he's not going to take over for Kalina. He's not going to take over for Calendar when you just traded those assets for him. So I think it's the right thing to do for a player perspective. And we just talked about Miami not doing what's in the best interest of the player, trading a guy and talking to him about it and everything like that. This is probably a conversation of saying, hey, this room's getting very crowded. Let's get you a head start to find you a future home for you and let you decide where you want to go.
Yeah, personally, this sucks because George is a great guy. He's always been super nice, and like you said, does a lot in the community. So personally, this one hurts, but I think it's going to allow him to get on another team and shine a little more, at least be second, if not a starter, on another team. Because there's definitely some teams that I know, like, yeah, their goalkeeper sucks. The Marks would be better than what you've got. So I'm hoping he'll land on a team quickly. I think he has a good mind for the game. He's very professional and just all around good dude. So I'm pulling for him.
Yeah, I think it says a lot when a lot of current and former players are commenting on their social media about him, and Brandt and Jalen Lindsay and all these other guys that have been out there, been around him, have all wished him the best, made comments for him, like that kind of stuff. I think it's speaks volumes to the locker room effect he is too. So. Mm-hmm. And he says he's not as short as everyone thinks he is. So I think it's also important. So I know it's so funny. Some of the things we used to say in year 1 or year 2, but that's all right. So that was another announcement. I mean, we were busy today, man. So another announcement that came out was Charlotte FC defender Suleiman Doumbia departs the club. So Charlotte FC announced today that the club exercised a 2025 buyout on the remainder of his loan. So Zoran says, we wish Suleiman nothing but the best in his future endeavors. He played a key part in our successes when he was on the field this year, but unfortunately injuries kept him off the field and didn't allow him to reach his full potential with us in Charlotte. So under MLS roster rules, a club is allowed at its own expense to buy out 2 players under guaranteed contracts per year and free up the corresponding salary budget space. So Doumbia arrived in a year-long loan from Belgium in March and quickly jumped to starting 11, which I don't know if anybody remembers, but that was a crazy thing. Like he came in on loan, got his visa, was fasting, and then started a game for us immediately after. So, I wish him the best. I don't really have anything that stands out. Like I think he did well whenever he was playing, but just couldn't stay healthy for us in this moment. Correct?
Yeah, I'm not hurt by this.
Yeah.
I think Matt questioned the part where it says he had an impact when he played. If you're watching the YouTube, just saw Matt's face.
I wish him the best. And we were talking about this in Discord too. So basically, what we're gonna do is pay his remaining wages for this year. Basically, that's the buyout. That's what we agreed upon with the loan. Now, the big question is, can he go back to his parent club? Will they have room for him on the roster? Because a lot of times that's why you loan people out. And so maybe there was probably a conversation they had with his former team, like, hey, we want to cut ties here. We'll buy him out, but do you have room to take him back? Because they may have to move him somewhere else because of roster rules and restraints and everything like that. So that's always interesting. But yeah,
I didn't even think about this, but what could be interesting too is now they have a benefit if we're guaranteed to be paying for his wages. They can go and loan him out and be like, hey, you want to play here for free? Like his wages are already paid for. I don't know. I don't know if that's how.
Yeah, I don't know how that. Yeah. Can you triple stamp or double stamp?
Or do they get the double stack it a little bit? We get 2 wages paid. Like
I don't know. Like like oh man, we're gonna get tons of money for him. Yeah, that is interesting.
It's like,
but yeah.
It's like you want to try this, take this $20 bills, you may double it and take it to somebody else. That's what we're doing with Sullivan's with his wages.
Yeah, and you might be thinking like, okay, why didn't we just, if we're gonna pay him, why not just keep him on the team? But that opens up a roster spot and an international roster slot, so it's good to get him gone.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. Can we use that to transition into listener questions? And then talk about anything else, because there's a natural segue there.
There is.
So with that in mind, opening up some roster spots, I think the big question on a lot of people's mind, but specifically asked by the Joes, Joe Emerson and Joe Garcia. Joe Emerson says Thursday's the end of the transfer window. Are Goodwin, Tofolo, and Calendar all of our moves, or do you think there's a final day move? And what position should that be? And similar, Joe Garcia says, if there is one last move to be made this window, is it to help shore up the midfield? So with that in mind of opening up a roster spot, is that because we are, in y'all's mind, aiming to add one more piece before this window closes and we go into this last stretch of the season? Matt?
Yes, there will probably be one more move. It may not be a signing from outside of the club, but it may or may not also solidify the midfield. And I will let you guys sleuth from there.
I'll go ahead and break the news here for everybody. I am officially signing with Charlotte FC.
That's what it is.
From my Sunday beer league.
That's what it is. David has impressed. Like, man.
They're like, man, that 5.5 mile per hour run for a mile is.
Hey, under Dean, you would only have to play for like 10 minutes at the end of the game.
I can put in a good solid 10 minutes, man. Give me 10 minutes. I'll make 2 runs during that time, and it'll be great. So
I really need Dean to sub earlier. That's what I really want him to do. But, no, I think we've had a good window. Striker, we had that need. I think the goalkeeper was kind of surprised everybody, but I think that's a really good move. And then we desperately needed a left back. So we're good. I think our midfield's good. And remember, Pep is still injured. He'll be back at some point, but I think there will be another addition to that midfield, but it probably won't come from outside.
And I guess there was a rumor, which I guess we can wait till after the listener questions because it's not official yet, but there was a rumor about a player of ours being sold but then loaned back. So I guess that announcement could come maybe sometime in the future. But
we can reference that because one of the questions I was going to read is related to that. Cool. So the news that possibly Malanda being sold to Middlesbrough and being loaned immediately back to finish out the season with us, which I think great business move, both on what they are reported to have sold him for and the added benefits of that, which was 8 million plus some sell on and some other bonuses. Again, nothing's official, but that's the reporting that's coming out right now. But also the strategic to say like, hey, but let us keep him for the season. We need him. He's a key piece, and getting a team to agree to that. So that's interesting. But related to that, Russell, you were going to say something, David, before I go into this question?
I was just going to say it's rumored, but it's a pretty good rumor when you get when the player gets spotted in the stadium with a photo.
There's a pretty good rumor, and like a rumor is just like you kind of forget that it hasn't been announced yet. Like the calendar thing was one of those where I was like, correct. When they sent out the email, I was like, wait, this wasn't already oh yeah, that's right. That was just reporting. Okay,
same thing for the Archie one too. That was like a good 2 weeks. And go ahead. I'm sorry.
So Russell had a couple of questions related to this. So I'll start with this one. Which transfer will you be more hurt by, Malanda or this potential Kalina that we're kind of referenced with the calendar signing? Like, is Kalina's days numbered? So he asked, which would you be most hurt by? Which would the fan base be most hurt by? So I'll let you kind of decide how you want to answer that. And I'll put it on David first, since I did that last time.
Man, that's okay. I guess because I played defense a little bit more, I'm going to say Malanda, just because he's been very consistent here. Like, is he flashy? Is he out in the media and out with all that stuff? No, not a ton. But like he's like steady Eddie. You know what I mean? Like, he's been consistent at center back for us, and he's been the one other than Nathan Byrne, but Nathan Byrne joined halfway through year one. He's been the one player that we've had back there that's been consistent since the inaugural season. Other than Kalina, I guess. But yeah, I guess Malanda, but I'd be sad for both if they would both be gone.
Personally, Melanda, I think fan base Kalina.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Melanda leads the league in minutes, by the way. And also, too, I think his transfer will be the second or third highest
It's a third
for a
highest.
defender.
Yeah.
And can we talk about how we're going to make $16 million off of 2 transfers? Yeah. Now, all of that won't go into the roster, pot that we could buy players from, but still, it's incredible. But yeah,
thanks, Thomas.
Yeah, no, it's yeah, but yeah, that's really good. Corey, you said it's really good business, and it is, because it should tell the fans that Zora and the front office are determined this year to get something the best they can out of this season, right?
Yeah.
They could have very easily let Melanda go, but no, they're like, we need him for this year. Let us have it. And Middlesbrough will get him in the middle of the season, so it's not like he'll have to wait the whole season for, so he'll be able to.
And it's not like he won't be game fit or match fit, that kind of stuff. So
now I doubt he comes in and starts and all that stuff, that's a long season, but yeah, it's great. I'm going to really miss him because he's been, just super solid and calm and such a great guy too. And so nice. So it's going to really suck. We all kind of knew he was going to be moving on. He's just one of those players, and it sucks and it's sad, but a really, really great signing and going to get a lot of money out of him.
Yeah. I think I would be with the fan vote and say Kalina. Not necessarily because of a production on the field standpoint. I think the biggest on field departure I'm hurt by is Melanda, but I think just from he's just been such a key part of the team from the beginning. And just has always kind of been there, other than, injuries or kind of some in and out this year. He's just been, he's like, not to make it like, too much about my kids or anything like that, but like, she is one of like the few players, like my oldest daughter, like knows his name. Like that's her favorite player because she's been going to the match and seeing Kalina. So it's one of those that I think there's gonna be a lot of people who have that kind of emotional connection. Again, my brain says the bigger one I'm hurt by is Melanda, because I think we have some options to cover Kalina like we talked about. But I think emotionally Kalina will be the one that like will be hard to lose.
Yeah. We've got you had the Bojangles hands with the bricks and everything. You got Kalina saves.
Yeah.
He has a lot of, the very passionate. And so I think, again, that's why when we sign Drake, everybody's like, what? No, this is so stupid. Like, I get it. Yeah.
Semi-related question real quick from Russell that I was going to ask. It's going to be a quicker one. If you could buy one, would you rather buy a Middlesbrough Melanda jersey or a Derby County Ajimang jersey?
Ooh. Swift, you go first now, because I got to look up what Middlesbrough kits look like.
Yeah, I know what they look like. I'd say Pat. I'd like yeah, it's a little different. The Middlesbrough, I just don't like anyway.
Ugh. I just Darby was where not anything against Melanda or Pat, but
Darby doesn't have the best jerseys, but I think they're I don't know. Yeah,
this is just.
Also, Brad Guzan used to play for Middlesbrough, and it kind of ruined it for me. I've always hated Brad Guzan. I swear to God, dude, I hate that guy.
It runs deep. It
really does run deep.
All right. Let's see. Let me just kind of jump around what would make sense to go to next. Let's go Matt Nolan. We're on 44 points with 7 to go. Even with Miami and Columbus games in hand, top 4 now seems plausible. Also, can I just say as an aside, so I'm going to jump. I don't think it's plausible either. Matt's shaking his head. It's a very long shot, if it's even possible mathematically. It's so frustrating. And this is just how it works sometimes. We're on this run of 6 wins in a row, so many unbeaten, and we cannot move out of 7th place in the East.
It's so frustrating.
It's incredibly maddening. And
it also goes to show you how detrimental.
Yeah. It's just we're on a streak, and I look at the standings and I'm like, we're still in 7th. Awesome. Great.
It just goes to show you how shitty that May and June really was for us, is what it came down to.
Yeah. There's lots at play there. Go ahead.
Yeah. Sorry. I'll ask the question. Our remaining opponents are currently ranked 10th, 11th, 5th, 8th, 14th, 15th, 2nd. We play no current playoff teams on the road and 4 of 7 at home where we have dominated. So the core question after setting all that up is, where do you have us finishing at the end of the season? David, you punted last one, so I'm going to make you go first this time.
It's fine, because I remember I did that. I think we talked to, this is either a secret show or like another episode. We talked about Swift, and I'm like, we have all these matches. I think we'll finish like 7th, because I was like, if we can get 12 points out of the last few of these games, I'll be happy. And the games I kind of thought we weren't going to get points on were Cincinnati and Salt Lake, and here we are. We got points against Cincinnati and Salt Lake, right? So I feel better than where we're at. I think max will be 5th is where I think we can really finish, to be honest with you. I think if you look at those games in hand, if you look at how tight the East is, I kind of wish we were in the West, because then if we were finishing like this, how we were, we'd be like 4th or 3rd in the West.
We would currently be in, sorry, hold on.
5th, right?
Yeah, I think you're right. I think it's 4th. I don't have it right in front of me.
So I think if we continue on this run, I think, Philadelphia is going to be a very, very tough game to play and finish the season out with that. I think I'll be happy if we can finish 5th with where we're at right now.
Matt, what's your gut tell you?
Oh, yeah. The standings, they're deceiving. Mm-hmm. You have Miami in 5th, but they've only played 24 games. They're 3 games behind us. So they're probably going to end up getting, unless they just completely falter, they're probably going to get
Which
up.
I hope they do.
Yeah. So, I mean, they're 3 games back of everybody else, so they could get 9 more points. So what's 9 plus 40? They're on 45 points. What is that? That's
54.
54 points. So that's going to be that's good enough to be in first place if they can win out those 3 games. We're in striking distance of Nashville and Orlando City.
Yes.
So I could see either one of those teams faltering at the end of the season, that we could leapfrog one of them. Columbus is ahead of us, but they have a game in hand. Columbus is really, really good. I just don't see them faltering. Maybe they do. The only problem is the team behind us also have games in hand over us, and NYCFC has 2 games.
2, yeah.
So I'm, with the math, the games that we have, and guys, really, guys, we shit the bed during that poor run of form. And again, our fullbacks killed us. But again, I digress. And that has cost us the season. So I'll just say it. So I'm thinking 6th. Yeah. I would love for us to get to 5th, but it's probably 6th, and it could be 7th. But I'm hoping for 5th or 6th.
Yeah, 6 is where I'm at. And I was going to point out the same thing you were, is that really the standings are very deceiving if you're just looking at points. Mm-hmm. Because I think they're right. The teams we should really be watching as far as what'll end up kind of being our seeding is Nashville, Orlando. I think Inter Miami is going to be above them. They're going to be up there in the top 4, 3, 2.
Miami. No, they're gonna crack the back.
I mean, I hope so, but I don't think that's realistic. It's possible, but
I'm speaking into existence.
And really got to watch, like you pointed out, like New York City FC has those 2 matches in hand. Chicago Fire has a match in hand and is 5 points behind us in 9th. So yeah, there's a lot to watch there as far as what could happen with these last few matches, because it's not really a true we're in 7th place. There's a lot that could play around based on all these matches when they finally start catching up with each other. So the biggest thing I'm trying to watch too is creating some distance behind, first of all, 10th, which we have done to a degree, because New York Red Bulls is in 10th. That's why Saturday I think is so massive. We'll probably talk about that more in the secret show. But creating some separation there, but also trying to find some separation in those 8th and 9th spaces, so we're not having the playoff game. And it's real tight between, basically 3rd and 9th at this point, with the games in hand factored in. Yeah, so it's fascinating.
NYCFC, there's 9 games left. They play 6 of those games at home.
Yeah.
Now they may not win
at
all
Yankee
these games.
Stadium or at Red Bull Stadium or at, I'm just playing.
So I mean, the thing is, just got to win our games, and luckily we have a lot of home games, But man, that poor run of form was so bad that it has really put us against it. So, but we'll be healthy. We just got to get into the playoffs and then see what we could do.
All right, I'm going to keep running through these. We had a lot of really good questions, and some people were joking in Discord that we're going to have like a 3-hour-long show, and we're trying not to do that. Matt Jones, I think the root of the question is how do we handle the press, which is where he starts. But basically the gist of it is, we're always kind of weak against the press, but we feel like he feels like we're a little bit even weaker without Pep being that creative midfielder that can push things forward. Red Bulls are going to press hard. Our Ajimong breakaways are not working as well these days, where we just kind of boot it and hope that he can run under it and catch the ball and make a play. But anyway, the root of it is it seems we have a clear weakness for Red Bulls to exploit. So how do we address that specifically against Red Bulls, I think is what he's saying here. So do we make a change at who plays Cam? How do we approach that, kind of knowing how Red Bull likes to play us, how it's given us trouble in the past, and knowing that's kind of a weakness specifically we have right now with the roster as it's built. How do you see us kind of dealing with that on Sunday?
Well, now we have Nathan Byrne, and we're going to have Harry. I'm hoping he'll.
It's all about the fullbacks. Yep. I'm never going to doubt you again, Matt. Like, honestly, because you're right.
I'm sure people were so sick and tired of me saying it, but I feel I will die on this hill, man. That's been our season. That's why we were bad. But so for the press, Red Bull they've had our number. They're aggressive. I think if I'm Dean, I'm going to switch up tactics because it hasn't been working. I would play more long balls at the back. But here's one thing that I really, really liked last game. I don't know if you noticed this. Westwood was dropping back and he would pick up the ball between the two center backs and almost look like a third center back. And he would play the ball from back there and he would break lines because he's a good passer of the ball. So you could do something like that where Westwood will hang back and be able to play quality balls out of the back that breaks lines, but it's all going to be about movement. We have to move better off the ball. I don't think Gianni does that really well. He's not fast enough. He's like a tad slower than he needs to be. But it's going to be all about movement and getting a little more creative once we have that pressure. But I think we're going to have to play some balls over the top and let Toklamati run onto some things and just switch it up a little differently. But yeah, Red Bull has definitely had our number. So it is a concern, but we are at home. So, and it is a must win.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I think I was going to say, I think having some experienced fullbacks, in terms of Harry and Nathan, it's going to be really key to this in terms of, but think about too, with just their experience, we're now going to have, instead of having a 20 and a 22-year-old, left and right back starting and playing in MLS with press and having things like that, you now got two guys that have played in Championship and Premier League that can handle the press and seen it before. And then you have, Malanda and Reem, again, experience there and playing against Red Bulls. Hopefully that helps us out. I like what you said there, Swift, about like him having, I like Ashley dropping more into a more defensive mid player versus having that pivot role and having to carry and cover more midfield ground. I think going back to the question, though, I would kind of like to see what you were just saying there, but also maybe put Eric in that cam role and then having Brandt be that 8 versus Gianni being that 8, just to kind of have a little bit more speed there against that press. But who knows? We'll probably see Gianni's in that space.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, I think us talking about this, I know Pep's out, but our midfield, that mid core is maybe something that we need to think about in the offseason about improving on. Yep.
Agreed.
Awesome. All right. I'm going to keep moving. Question from Matt Nolan. around attendance, which is something I feel like has been kind of burbling along as a conversation topic. And I know Matt has some thoughts.
Definitely want to talk about this one. Go ahead.
Yeah. So I'll just read kind of what he says here. Attendance average to date is 28,487. This is down. That is accurate. MLS blamed government immigration scaremongering in 1998 for a similar dip. Obviously, we're seeing some similar things happening in our government now that we will not talk more about politics than that right now. Yep. Do you think, is that what we're seeing, or is this inevitable season 4 stuff? With 6 in a row, it feels like attendance should be surging. Matt, since you have your thoughts, I wanted to let you go ahead and jump into it.
Yeah. So we've already talked about PSLs being stupid. We've already talked about prices, people getting priced out. I don't want to talk about that. Okay. I want to put things in perspective. Let's say that we don't have 28,000 fans coming to the stadium every game. So let's just say we have like 25,000, right? We'll say that we'll cut it down to 25,000. What is the capacity for the Columbus Crew Stadium? What is the capacity for Cincinnati? What is the capacity for St. Louis, San Diego, and all these other teams? Columbus Crew is 20,000. So when people say people are not coming to the games, that's fundamentally false.
Yeah.
Because if we had Columbus Crew Stadium, that's 5,000, 8,000 fans every single game that could not make it to the game. The only reason why it looks empty is because we have a like 75, 80,000 seat stadium. Now, it is year 4. I don't know what to tell people if you think we're going to have 60,000 fans every single game. That is ludicrous that if you think we can have that every single game, every single year. The first season is when you're going to have the most fans because it's the excitement, the hype, everything like that. Unless we are in a championship game, playoff run, something like that, that's when you're going to get the upper deck. You're going to have the 60, maybe 70,000. But the fact that we have 25 to 28,000 fans every single game is pretty fantastic if you compare it to every other team in the league. Only outlier is someone maybe like Atlanta United. But every other stadium in this league only can hold 20 to 30,000 fans. And that's what we get every single game. So basically it would be a sellout every single game in every other market. Now, again, attendance is dwindling down. Things are not trending in the right direction. So this could be a different conversation next year. Like there's things that are happening that we've talked about ad nauseum. But I just want to put some perspective on this because I keep seeing people saying like, yeah, no one's going to these games. That's false. There's a lot of people still going to these games and the numbers don't lie. So I don't know.
David? Do you want me to?
Yeah,
okay. I mean, yeah. So I appreciate your perspective there, Swift, and I do agree with you. It's not like we don't have people going to the game because I agree with you on that. I agree with you that stadium looks worse than it is because we're in a football stadium that was built in 1995 and it's, whatever, right? Mm-hmm. I do think there is an attendance decline. It is not good to see year 3 to year 4 with a 10% decline year over year of reported numbers, not actual fans attending, but reported numbers. So again, going back to what you're saying, like, yeah, they're reporting 28,000, whatever it is. But
even if you say 20,000 though, say it's 20,000, say that 8,000 people are just not other.
I think where I kind of just say is like, and again, I'm not to make this the PSL FO conversation though, is it is a little concerning if you look at year over year growth. There's 3 teams that have more negative growth year over year. Granted, stadium size, whatever, it's still negative growth. You have Montreal, who's Toronto, who is so you've got 2 Canadian teams that are just doo-doo, right? Yep. You have FC Dallas, who has half their stadium empty because they're renovating it because they're trying to expand their max capacity from 19,000 people. Yep. So you have those teams, and then I'm looking at it at least, and then the only other one is the New England Revolution, who goes back to like in football stadium. You've got the Revolution, Atlanta United, Seattle Sounders, Chicago Fire, us, who all play in a multi-sport venue, I guess, technically NYCFC, with you count Yankee Stadium, things like that.
Sure.
So I'll just leave it at that. I do think, I don't know. I think there is reason to see smoke, to see like what's going on, to see year over year negative growth for 2 to 3 years in a row, and to see a double-digit growth this year when the team was supposed to be on paper better than they were last year. I think it's disappointing to see, but it is still 28,000-ish people. Go ahead, Swift. Yeah,
that's raising his hand.
I guarantee if we didn't hit that shitty spell and it wasn't 96 goddamn degrees outside,
but it's been 96 degrees for the past 4 years.
There would be more people in that stadium. And again, you listed off teams that have been in the league for years and years and years. So yeah, they're gonna be below us, of course. But like there is an issue with tickets. I'm not denying that at all. Yeah. There is an issue. PSL is the dumbest thing that we've ever done, right? And that's had lingering effects. I'm talking about this notion that like, oh yeah, people are not going to the games and it's just going to dwindle down.
Oh yeah, I don't agree. I don't agree with that. I think there's still people going. It's just, but like, think about like, if you look at the Chicago Fire right now, who's doing better than they were probably in the longest time that they've been. They're seeing a 30% increase year over year in the same size stadium that we're in, and they're not far behind us in terms of attendance, right? So, I mean, it shows you that if you have a good product and it's cheap and accessible, it will be attended. You know what I mean? So, I agree with you. It's not that it's not being attended. Is it being attended as it once was, or what it could be? No, but that's just right. It's just different. I think different perspectives there, different arguments there.
And to me, even if you give away tickets, if the team's not performing well during the summer, especially, people have other things to do.
Yeah.
And I'm not talking about the whole season.
Yeah.
I'm talking about the summer. It looks sparse because people are doing other things. It is 90 degrees outside. And I'm not just making excuses. I am saying there is a problem with tickets and pricing people out and everything, and people getting mad. So some of those people are leaving. But
I was one. Yeah.
But I'm just saying, like, even if the tickets were affordable, even if they were free, people are still not going to come to games for various reasons. So I've just been seeing a lot of chatter about like, oh yeah, like, man, attendance sucks. Like, it might suck for maybe us, but in the grand scheme of things, there's a lot of people going to these games, like more than all of these great all these, soccer awesome markets. So
yeah. Not to keep hammering on this conversation too long, but a few thoughts. Like I mostly agree with you, Matt, on that point. And that was kind of the point I was going to make is, yes, the number of people coming compared to the rest of MLS is impressive. So that's good there. And then also I was going to say, what I think has been interesting is I've at least 2 or 3 media outlets that are not at all sports related this past week. I've heard them make a thing on air about how the team has won 6 matches in a row and how like now's the time to go see them. They're like really on a hot streak. Like that's that kind of thing where, again, because the team is still so new, you need that kind of like, and just because of the dominance of other sports in America and our market, like you need that kind of like, random person on the morning radio show saying something like that to get some people out. I think that's positive. Mm-hmm. That's positive there. And this, I feel like Matt's going to fight me on this, and I'm not, I don't know if I have a strong take here. I still wonder sometimes, not for the league as a whole, but for Charlotte FC at its infancy, how much did the Apple TV thing hurt attendance? Because I think because we were so young in our existence as a club, right? you're trying to build a fan base. You're trying to capture some of those casual fans who aren't the ones buying season tickets day one and wanting to come out to matches. But maybe if they happen upon a match here or there and they're watching on TV and you're like, that's like a lot of fun. We should really go to one of those matches. Does that, I don't know if I have a strong take here, but I start to wonder about that. Like, it's not, if you aren't a soccer fan, trying to see a Charlotte FC match on TV is damn near impossible. Like, you don't have the MLS package. You don't even know to go to Apple TV to find the random free match of the week, if they even still do that. Like, and they show the replays now, I think, on local TV, but that's like,
they do, I don't know, 24 hours later.
Yeah. So like, that's better. But I do think there is, not for the most fans, and I think from a business sense, it made a lot of sense for the league to do something like this. But I think what you lost, because we were still building that fan base, is there's a lot of people. I don't know if there's a lot. I think there's some segment of the population who like kind of forgets that we're there because like it's impossible to watch the matches unless you either pay Apple money or, fork over $35 plus for a ticket and, all the things that go along with it. I don't know. I don't have like a real numbers based argument there. It's just a feeling of, because the MLS package started our second year. We only had one year we were on local TV stations.
Correct.
I don't know, man. When it's easy to say to a friend who's like, I've been interested, but I haven't really been able to watch a match. I was like, hey, turn on whatever local ABC affiliate or wherever the hell we were playing. We were on some random channel, but like, hey, just watch the match. Like, it's on here. You can check it out. And then, encourage somebody to become a fan and then decide to go to a match. I don't know. I wonder if there's something there in.
I mean, I can tell you real world, like Laura's grandmother would watch the game when it was on WSOC the first year. And now every time when I see her, she always asks, hey, did you see the game lately? Have they been good? What's been going on? I haven't been able to watch them because it's not on the antenna or over the waves.
And it's a long game. Like, that's not a person that's going to go to every match, but I think those are the kind of people that, like, how many times did you like watch your favorite football team on TV before you ever saw a game in person? Right. Like, I think there's something to that. Like, if you're trying to build a fan base, there's something to that, like, casual viewer gradually building into something. And I think locking it behind a paywall, even for the local market, loses that to some degree.
I get that.
Again, it's all vibes based. Matt is nodding as if like he thinks I'm crazy.
No, it's a
just something I've been
question.
thinking about.
I don't know if it would be enough to make a difference. Like, I'm talking about people actually coming to the game, not just watching the game. I think the deal benefits the league more in general, but I don't know. I see what you're saying.
It's more of a long game. Yeah, it's not like an immediate thing. It's not like you would put it on local TV and immediately you see go back up to 35 a match. It's more like 5 years down the road. Does this affect the team even more because some people fall off and there's less people coming on the bandwagon because there's not an accessible way for them to join the bandwagon? Does that make sense?
Could be. No, it could be. Also, it takes local media to do their part too. Yeah. I mean, they need to show highlights. They need to talk about it on the radio, things like that too. So
I was actually going to add to that because like I remember, and not to make this the whole thing, but like even thinking through year one and even somewhat year two, you would have like Sean McIntosh, Eric Krakauer, Lloyd Sam. They would actually go on Charlotte local morning TV shows and everything like that, and promote giveaways and promote upcoming games and big things. Granted, I don't live in Charlotte anymore. I don't watch local morning TV, even where I live now. But like just thinking through like just that reach there, is the club doing that still? Like if it was me, I'd be like, guys, we're on a 6-game win streak. We're desperately in a playoff push. Let's get out here and get people out here. Let's get banners back up in downtown Charlotte. Let's make sure we're on the TV. Let's make sure we're on radio. I think they could be doing that a little bit more.
They do on radio, and I know they still interview some fans for the news, especially. But it's so like surface level fluff, and they're like, y'all are about to play Miami. How do you feel about Miami? How do you feel about Messi coming into town?
What about Messi's impact on the U.S. men's national team? I'm just joking.
Yeah, smack that microphone out of your face. Yeah, but I mean, you still get a little bit of that, but I think it's just going to take time for media to really keep talking about it. And, even WFNZ, Willie P's on there. There are mornings where we just came off a game and I've listened to the show for like 45 minutes and we're talking about Panthers practice instead of the game that just happened. But that's what the show is mostly about. So it's just going to take a change there. But I mean, you bring up a good point, Corey, about converting those kind of casual fans to get them to the stadium, to bolster attendance, to, convert them more into season ticket holders and things like that, which the team is that they're going to be struggling, I think, next year with renewals and stuff like that. So
that's my worry is down the line is like, you're going to have turnover. People are going to decide for various reasons, whether they moved away or financial situations or whatever, like that they're not going to do their season tickets.
Yeah.
So how are you gaining those fans coming in? And I think that's one, like it's partially on the team. Like some of the stuff y'all were saying is like, how are you doing that from a marketing standpoint? I'm sure they are doing things, but like, what is that? And is it enough? But I also think like some of the built-in, marketing is like just people can find it on TV and watch matches and, get into it that way. So I don't know. It's just, again, I don't have like any kind of like, I'm not going to call it a hot take or anything solid like that. It's just something that's I've been kind of flipping around in my head because it just feels very vibes based, but I don't know if there's something there to, again, if you're an established club, if you've been around for 10, 15, 20 years, it probably doesn't affect you as much because like the fan base already knows you're there. And, if they're interested at that point, they can find ways to watch it. But a very new fan base. Yeah. I mean, I anecdotally hear from a lot of people who are like, I used to watch matches, but now like I don't ever watch them anymore. So I don't really know what's going on with the team.
And I remember saying on this show that my fear was Tepper was going to look at skewed data and the resale market and make a huge mistake about them thinking how many people are coming to the games and, how, oh my gosh, people are just going to the secondary market and getting tickets. We can now raise prices to this. And now you're seeing that people are like, even like me, like, why should I have season tickets? Yeah, I get to have my one seat, but I can just not have single season tickets and just get single game tickets every single game and it be cheaper than what I pay. So now all that's going to be that's going to be coming up. And I think they've made a mistake. One, with PSLs, and then two, looking at stupid skewed data. Like with the data, because I remember having conversations like, the data's saying that secondary market, you buy tickets at this price and that, it's cheaper, it's cheaper to have season tickets. And now it's the reverse. Shocker.
All right. I didn't mean to derail us for that long.
No, that's good. So good conversation.
And I said this last time I was on. I know we didn't last week because I wasn't on. I'm saving a lot of these more fun questions that don't necessarily tie to specific things happening right now. I'm going to save those. We're going to do like a fun question episode at some point. Yeah. So I'm just saving those in a note over here. So don't worry about that. One kind of fun question, but it's timely because it's related to the trade window. Paul asks, the trade window is open, lots of announcements and movement. And my favorite player, Thomas Mueller, just went to Vancouver. He had two questions. I'm going to pick one of them. Who is your favorite non-Charlotte MLS player?
Oh.
I don't know if I have one.
In unison. This was really hard for me too. Like I was going to jump in and try to help y'all stall, but like I'm really trying to think of one that I feel very positive about.
It's hard.
I
not
can tell
to
you the
just
ones that I
hate
don't
everybody.
like. Yeah, I have a list of the ones that I can't stand.
I do like Evander. I like him.
Son seems like a good guy. Like he just signed from. Well, I'm saying that to an Arsenal fan here, so I can't say that. But I just
I hate that dude with. I don't know.
That's a very loaded question.
Fiber in my being.
I don't know. I don't know. I don't watch other teams like that and be like, "Let me cheer for this guy." I guess you know what I mean. But it's definitely not Carlos Heel. I can tell you that. Or Lionel Messi or Brad Guzan or
I feel like
those
any
guys,
any of the ones I feel positive about are like guys on men's national team or players who have some connection to Charlotte. It's like
I've liked watching Diego Luna. That's a good call out for the U.S. men's national team players. That's
He's
good.
one that I feel like I would dislike, but I don't.
Yeah.
That's a good one. So since we don't have a great answer, I will read a second question. And maybe we won't have an answer for this one either, but I'm going to throw it out to you. What player came to MLS that you wish had come to Charlotte that you'll continue to follow even though they were traders and went somewhere else?
I don't know if I follow them because it's I want them to do well, but it's more I follow them because I want to hate watch and hopefully they don't do well because they didn't come to us. But Marco Royce, I'll watch that to see how he does and hope he crashes and burns in LA because he didn't come here. That kind of stuff.
What I was thinking of too.
Miguel Almiron, same thing. I'm like, you're in Atlanta now, that kind of thing. So, I'll do that, but there's no one I'm actively cheering for because they didn't come here. So
no, I can't do it either.
All right. One last question. We'll close that out on this again because it's timely. And again, Eric, you had some really good, fun questions that I'm going to save because I think they'd be fun to talk about. But we went way too long on attendance, and that's my fault. All right. So, Fatbird, what are your thoughts on Sunday night games?
Bleh.
Yeah, I think Sunday those games need to be early in the day.
Yes, 100%.
Yeah. And hey, another thing too, we talked about attendance. I think if MLS would make games a little earlier, more I could bring my 4-year-old.
Yes.
I think you could bring your family more too.
The play devil's advocate, though, if you think, what do you always hear what happens in the fall, spring, and summer? You have summer sports and fall and winter sports. And if you're making it earlier on a Saturday, you have families be like, I'm taking my kid to travel ball. I can't come to the game now because I'm saying this as someone who doesn't have kids, so I have no idea.
I think at least mixing it up more. Because the other thing I've heard this said probably here, probably other places too. I hate that when I'm waiting for a home match, there's not a couple of afternoon matches I can be watching while I'm hanging out at home. Yeah. So I all the matches, there occasionally there is, but it's more a rare occurrence than a norm. So 90% of the matches happen at 7:30. So by the time I get home from the stadium, the match day is basically over. There's a couple of late night games and maybe if Orlando has a storm come through like they did this past weekend, they're still playing. That's basically it. At least spread out. If your bulk of your games are going to be at 7:30 window, great. That's your time. Go for it. But having 2 or 3 sprinkled from 1 to 7, and then occasionally your team gets that, to your point, Matt, and that's when you can bring the kids, and it's less of a. I feel like before we went to, again, I'm not going to keep harping on the Apple TV deal, but I feel like before we went to Apple TV, that was more of an occurrence. Because
we had 3 or 4 games.
You would have weird afternoon games. And
the games were all over the place,
which was hard to plan for because if you forgot when the game was. But
sure.
But again, it kind of mixes it up. You can get different types of fans because it's harder to bring kids. We'll bring our kids.
Why not have a 3:30, a 5:30, a 7:30, and then have it staggered throughout the
and
day.
Same on Sunday. I think they do play around with Sunday a little bit more. I could be wrong on that.
I think it's 3 and 6 or something like that.
Yeah, they'll play kind of 2 different windows within that. But having those, because also just as a soccer fan, I wouldn't mind having a match to watch while I'm getting ready for our match or something like that. So
you start learning more. You start learning more about the league, the storylines and things like that. And I think they could do a little better. I mean, because even on Apple TV, they have the 360 show, which I actually really, really like.
That's what I watch all the time. Yeah.
But it would be really cool if they staggered the games. And so they could talk about different things. And I don't know. I think they could just do a little better with it. But.
Versus having 13 of the 17 games all at one time.
Yes. Now, I will say it is kind of, I don't know if you ever watched it. It is kind of funny. They're doing the show while all the games are going on. And they're literally talking. They're like, oh, we got a break for this. And it's constantly, they're breaking constantly for highlights. Because it's not just goals. It's close chances, corners, things like that. So it's actually pretty entertaining, but I just wish they would stagger them some.
It's great in that window, but again, I love watching 360, but a lot of times if we're in a home match, by the time I've gotten back home to watch it, there's like 3 matches playing. And they were clearly like, well, filling time, commercial break. Like they're making up for all the stuff they did at 7:30.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. But to answer the question about Sunday night games, I don't like them, especially as we're getting in the summer, you can get away with it a little bit more. But like in my case, like, school's starting back up. And so like my wife, who's
it's Monday, right? School starts Monday. Yeah.
Well, so she teaches at a private school, so they already started. But anyway, either way, like, like Sunday night, she's like, I'm not going. So like, I'm gonna probably bring a friend and figure it out. But like, that's a school night. That's a much different situation than a Saturday night or even a Sunday night in the summer. So, boo.
Yeah.
Give me like a Sunday at 3.
Yeah.
And let's sweat for 2 hours. All right, that's all I got. I'm going to save the rest of them again. We've got from a couple weeks ago, we got some fun questions. From this week, we have some fun questions. I'm going to save those. We'll have to do some kind of like fun question special, maybe a secret show. I don't know. We'll figure it out, but we'll save those for later.
Cool.
You got anything else before we head out of here?
I think I'm good.
I think that's it.
Awesome. Well, I'll do the regular plug since you mentioned the secret show. Join our Patreon. Join the, what do you call it? The corn dog stand. Remember, David did something.
Corn dog something. Who knows?
There's only one level of patron to be. So join that. It's a few bucks. You get access to the Discord, and
it's the corn dog stand. I had to look it up. The corn dog stand,
and you'll get access to the Discord and the secret show that we produce most weeks. But also just can get in the Discord and chat with us about the matches and everything else going on. Submit your questions for the show, all that fun stuff. So it's be in the show notes. Check that out, or just search Mint City Soccer Show on Patreon. You can find us that way. But with that, thank you for listening. Don't go to the stadium on Saturday because there's not a match. We'll see you on Sunday at the bank for a huge one against the Red Bulls. See y'all.
See ya.